Guys, this video is about your life being behind a very thin wall. And I don't think a lot of you guys know how thin that wall is. I like to bring up the analogy. You're a baby elephant with a rope tied around your leg to like a chair that can easily be moved, like a plastic chair. As a baby elephant, you can't move the chair, so you feel stuck. But as a grown elephant, you can easily move. But because you've been taught this behavior and pattern growing up that you can't move from this certain surface area from the chair, you just don't move. I kind of want to break that mindset for you guys. Whether you're a software developer trying to start a software startup, I could already tell there's limiting beliefs in that because you've been working for someone for so long and you feel like starting a software startup is literally the Social Network movie where there's so many crooks and nannies to even get started. And this thin wall can also be paralleled with someone who's in a different business model. For example, whether you're in the real estate niche, agency niche, or if you're just self-employed, guys, and especially in today's time, the amount of work that it takes to go into real estate, wholesaling, rental properties, or having a digital agency online is the same amount of work for software. And with software, you're getting infinite higher leverage by just choosing the right direction. So direction over speed. There is a reality, which I like to teach in my videos, where you can achieve direction and speed, but we need to break down that thin wall. The point is, I don't think people realize just how thin that wall really is. Everyone's heard of the line, if you can break through that wall, everything you want in life is on the other side. But I wish people could understand how close they are. So I'll give you some examples and we'll go ahead and break it down. So you probably heard of the phrase, especially if you're in sports growing up, 90% of the work is just showing up. Majority of the people in your life just do not show up. That's the competition. So do you realize how much of an advantage life gives you just by showing up, guys? We hear a lot in the software space about that this idea is saturated or there's too much competition in this area in business. And it's like, bro, do you know how many Cal AI clones, right? The app where you take a picture of your food and it gives you the amount of calories using AI. Do you know how many clones there are of that? And they're all making like 10 to 50K per month in monthly recurring revenue. So out of 10 people who had the same idea, 9 will not even start. And that's the point, guys. They'll sit on it, overthink it, and talk themselves out of it. Honestly, that's exactly how I built my SaaS. When ChatGPT 3.5 first dropped, everybody was in this idea stage. And I'll be transparent, I was even working faster than software developers when I didn't even learn how to code yet by utilizing no-code tools like Bubble.io or now Cursor AI. But Cursor wasn't even out back then, or I wasn't aware of it. But everybody was in idea mode, and I just kept showing up every single day. Even when I had no clue what I was doing, even when I felt like an imposter. And that consistency got me to 4K MRR within my first couple months. You can scroll back to my first YouTube video on this channel. I literally documented it, and I'm happy I did. And it got me to 10 to 11K MRR with my first AI SaaS app. My point is, that was the thin wall. You guys just need to show up when others don't. And by the way, guys, I offer one-to-one mentoring in the description below. Whether it's your first customer or you're already at 3K per month and just want to hit 10K per month. Doesn't matter the phase you're in because I walk the same path that you're in right now, all the way to listing my SaaS for sale to private equity. So this is only for the serious people who want to speed up their growth. Let's get back into the video. And guys, the truth is most people aren't failing because they're not smart enough. A lot of you guys are smarter than me. A lot of you guys are majoring in software development or software engineering. Again, you're smarter than me. You guys are failing because I think you're paralyzed by fear or by the illusion that the thin wall is actually concrete. And I think some people have it and some people don't. By that, I mean, I think some people are born with conviction in themselves that they are able to succeed or their environment shaped them to a point in their adolescence that they think they can achieve. With me, dude, I remember watching Disney Channel growing up and Disney Channel just saying, you can do whatever you want. And I was probably 4 or 5 years old when I saw that. Perhaps it was a little bit of genetics, my mom coming from the Philippines to the United States. Maybe there was just a little bit of ambition in my blood. By the way, there's a book called Hyper-Manic Edge where it talks about foreign people coming to the US and it's a melting pot, and by design, their kids are just more ambitious because, dude, for you to leave your country and go to the US, you have to be a more ambitious individual than people at your homeland. But that's aside from the point. Basically, my point is a lot of you guys are being shaped by fear, not because you're less intelligent than other individuals. Guys, just think about how many people say they want to start a business, but they never set up a landing page. How many they say they want a better body, but they've never committed to like a 90-day sprint of clean eating and training. My point is, it's not hard or impossible, it's just uncomfortable. And the crazy part is, guys, I'm not telling you anything new. You guys know when you guys are making the wrong decisions. When you wake up and then get on your phone before you get out of bed, that you probably know that's a wrong decision. You guys are on this side of YouTube, business, self-improvement. You know that. Okay, you've heard that before. Don't get on your phone when you get out of bed or when you're in bed. I think those decisions stack up every single day. So, you say you want to start your business, but instead of testing the idea, you binge YouTube. My point is, again, that's the thin wall. And sometimes you just need a little bit of recalibration so you could realize there's this thin wall, let me just go right through it. And I'll be real with you guys, when I first started my SaaS, I didn't know it would work. Yes, I did have a little bit of conviction in myself, but at this point I've started so many businesses. I would say I have a high hit rate, about 50 to 60% of businesses I start, it works. Then I just pivot because I realize, do I really want my lifestyle to be doing this in the operations every single day? Again, that's why I'm doing social media and software, highest leverage opportunities. Not gonna go into that right now, but I had moments where I thought, I'm not technical enough. I don't have the right network. I don't have investors. By the way, if you talk about software or anything in that space to like the average individual, they're gonna say, well, have you spoke to investors? And they just don't understand that you can bootstrap your way up to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50K MRR, perhaps 100K MRR. Yes, sounds crazy, but you don't really believe that's possible until you crack your first 5 to 10K MRR. They're gonna think that, and you gotta convince them, well, no, you can actually achieve this by, bootstrapping or doing this XYZ, etc. And for you to even like convince people to believe in yourself, you have to believe in yourself. So you can't give yourself excuses like, I don't have the right network or I don't have investors. You just have to take action, guys. And when I first started, I really leaned in, guys. Things started clicking. I remember, dude, it probably took me like, I would even argue like 2 weeks to get like AI SaaS template done to get customers, which by the way, like with Cursor AI, you could get that done in like a weekend. But back then, I'm saying back then, but it was really like a year and a half ago, I think when I dropped that video, it was hard to build on bubble.io because you had to screenshot the screen, throw it in a ChatGPT, and then ChatGPT will tell you what to click. But now with Cursor AI, it just does it for you. So guys, right after I finished building the product, which took me about 2 weeks, I started posting TikToks. And not every idea works with TikToks because some ideas just aren't inherently viral. But I started posting TikToks, and I remember that first customer rolling in, and that's where I started to feel momentum. And when I looked in the mirror, I was who I said I was. I could learn software development and get my first customer, and I did it at that time. Now I was probably at $20 MRR, but that's the moment I realized the wall was not brick. It wasn't steel, it was paper thin, and it was a limiting belief, and you just have to push through. And then I also mentioned this in the beginning of the video, guys. Most of you guys are the baby elephant, or perhaps the grown elephant with your ankle tied around a plastic chair. You've got the strength, you've got the brains, you have the talent to just walk straight through, but you don't try because of past conditioning. And I want you guys to think of what patterns you went through growing up for you to second guess yourself in starting a SaaS, starting that business. For me personally, I didn't do good in school, guys. Perhaps the patterns were a bit negative in the beginning, but it further reinforced me going my own direction. And for you guys, the patterns do not have to be negative. Perhaps you had positive reinforcing patterns. You were very good at school, so therefore you followed the system like you were supposed to, where you went to college. Now, by the time you're like 21, 22 years old, you graduated college, and you see younger individuals who did not go to school, who are a bit further ahead in the entrepreneurial space than you are. Well, that's not necessarily negative patterns, it's just you've been positively reinforced to go a different direction in life. So figure out what your past conditioning was for you to be at your current position in life. And maybe you failed before, maybe people laughed at you, maybe you had, again, positive reinforcement in different areas in your life. Maybe perhaps your own family doubted you. So now whenever you feel resistance to start your SaaS startup, you just stop. You stop midway, and you don't test the idea. You don't make the ask to a mentor or do the research on YouTube or Google, and you just don't put yourself out there. And my point is, that resistance that you've learned, that wall is fake. That's a paper thin wall, and it's a limiting belief. And you could literally just run through the wall, guys. I'm not even trying to sell you guys the dream. I'm not trying to sound like a guru, but the harsh truth is, guys, your dream life is on the other side of the thin wall, like I've been saying in the past video. That client you've been scared to pitch, that product you've been pausing to launch, the uncomfortable skill you've been avoiding to learn. Perhaps it might be Cursor AI, or perhaps it might be submitting an app to the App Store, building out a landing page, or taking a certain course or buying mentorship, whatever it may be, guys. Your dream life is literally one bold move away. It's hard for me to like relate myself to you guys because I've always been the type to, I wouldn't take a month in between reality and expectation. As soon as I finished the website, I would jump straight into the marketing. As soon as one marketing vertical didn't work, I would jump straight into a different type of marketing vertical. By the way, I found true scale. I got my first customer through organic marketing. And I think if you want to hit your first 1 to 5K MRR, you should do organic marketing. But I saw true scale when I pivoted towards ads. I took that 1 to 5K MRR that I was getting every month, invested that into ads, and that was just one bold move away. That was just one thin wall to my dream life. And through ads, that's how I ascended to 10K MRR. And you know, I was scared to lose money, but that decision alone changed everything. And guys, within weeks, revenue doubled, one decision, one action, that was my thin wall. And guys, the more I listen to like these SaaS software podcasts or really just self-improvement podcasts, just any podcast, whether it might be Kevin Hart talking about acting, it's always the same thing. And you see this constant pattern across all avenues of success in life. It's the thin wall that has to be broken. The girl you want to talk to, the business you want to build, the lifestyle you want to live, all of it is sitting on the other side of the paper thin wall, waiting for you to just act. And again, I'm gonna keep saying myself, the difference between you getting to the other side of the life that you want, it could be a 30-second conversation, it could be one YouTube video that sets the tone and momentum to getting into a business model that's higher leverage, like software. It could be, you know, a single yes, a single habit. So I want you guys to set the standard higher for yourself and realize that you're flawed, I'm flawed, you have limiting beliefs. Every level of entrepreneurship, you're gonna face limiting beliefs. There's the classic story of Alex Hormozi. He was using in real life flyers to like hang up on poles and walls to advertise his business. I think he hung up like 100 to 200 flyers, and then he asked his mentor, dude, this marketing vertical is not working. And his mentor is like, okay, what's your sample size? Alex says 1 to 200. And he's like, bro, you don't really start until you get to like 5 to 10,000 flyers. So with Alex, he set the standard higher and realized his thin wall was just increasing the volume of flyers. Paralleling that to you guys, perhaps your thin wall is just more volume in what you're doing. So I'm not gonna ramble on. I'll leave you guys with this. You are one skill away from a completely different life. For me, it was learning SaaS. For you, maybe it's copywriting or ads or sales. I recommend to investigate into software. It's the highest leverage play. It's the reason why I'm living the life that I'm living right now. You can literally rewrite your futures. So that's it for today's video, guys, and have a good one.